Welcome back to Nightingale's Motorcycle Restorers and Metal Finishers. This is the start of a video of which we're making a chemical. We're actually bottle it in-house, we dispense it, label it and send it out to you, or else people can come in at the trade counter. And over the last few years I've been making a few notes what people have sent me, emails and questions. And this particular chemical's for tank cleaning, motorcycle tank cleaning. Now it could be stale fuel because it's a 3-part. Stale fuel, just generally grimy inside, bike what's been stud, or a bike that's got a lot of rust in it. So the idea is I'll just show you the bottles of what we've got. It's in a stage 1, part 1, part 2, part 3. And this is a video before we do a 2-part tutorial on it, which people who buy it have also got the, when they open the box, they've got a data sheet. They've got full instructions, but they can go on YouTube and go through it and just tick the boxes, because we've been in this game a long time doing tanks. So we'll show you the product first, how it's going to be sent out to the customer yourselves. So these are the 3. So it's Prep 1, Prep 2 and Prep 3. Prep 1's a 100% concentrate degreaser. So that's put in the tank first. The Prep 2 is acid cleaner concentrate with phosphates in it, which we use for de-rusting tanks in the workshop. And the third one's a neutraliser, a powder. So what we'll do is we'll get onto a few things, because it's meant to be from another side this, because we have people coming into us, and I'm going to kind of tell you some of the things what the customers say when they come in. And nothing's personal because every customer's valuable, but and also why we've stopped taking petrol tanks in by postal. So we'll go through a few and we'll go from there. So one of the biggest problems I had was from the trade. Now, trade from around the country, not local. And what happens is, if you think about it, we've got to look at both sides here. Customer's taking his bike in, and he'll only have a certain amount of garages, like people coming to us for repairs, who we're going to take it on. So let's just say it's a 500 for, 400 for, 750 or 4 under, or even a CBX 1006. So the garage accepts taking it in. The guy's got a problem with it, either won't start or misfires. Eventually they get to take the carbs off. The seat's full of stale, fuel. Especially if it doesn't take long with modern fuels to, like we have in here, they just go off. Or they've got sediment in it or rust, and then they look in the tank and it can be really bad, severity high or just low, or just stale fuel, but it is a contamination. So the mechanic, and rightly so, in any garage, says to the customer, you've got to have the tank cleaned out, because when we repair this machine, you're going to go down the road 100 yards and it might be off on the cylinder or stop completely, or end up revving right out. So you can see their side of it. So then what actually happens is we get the tank by postal. Now, we photographed it in the past, we've stopped doing them now, and we've stopped taking tanks in because it's just the risk factor's too high. So you get a tank in, you have a look, it comes in, it's got a few scratches on it, it's got a bit of paint off it, so you're taking all the pictures. And this was really, it could be for a de-rust or even been said a tank liner. And as I'll go through it, tank liners are the last resort, all the time. Tank liners are the last resort. I take more tank liners out and clean more tanks back because it's unnecessary, they haven't needed it. So we'll go through the next stage. The next stage after inspecting it, you've got a 3-way conversation now, because now the customer's onto the mechanic, because he's already had it in a length of time, he's already done work, and now it's stalled it because the tank's got to come to us by post. We inspect it, and you look at them sometimes, you get a bit paranoid with it, because what actually happens is, saying we just de-rusted it and went through the process which I'm showing here, through Prep 1, Prep 2 and Prep 3, then you send it back. Then the customer goes back in the garage, it might be a month before it's put back together. The customer then probably says there was a scratch on it, a dent in it, wasn't there when it goes. So it's just too hard to take the process on. So that's why we only now take them in through the trade counter in the workshop. But we have had a bad run with the postal service, to be fair. We take photographs. We've had dents in tanks, and I do believe that they didn't send off when you speak to the customers. So we actually stopped about 2 years ago. So the idea of making this product was that we can sell it in a kit, also sell it at the trade counter. And you might use it, as I say, for a restoration, a light clean, anything what's fuel injected, a race machine on the Prep 1. You might not need Prep 3. We are selling it separate, you know, in 1, 2 and 3. But the idea of Prep 1 is a cleaner, degreaser. And that'll solve most of the problems. So the videos will be going out, the 2 videos, tutorials on the videos will be going out, and they'll be right the way through from how to wrap a tank, how to tricks of the trade, how we do it. So it'll help you with the problem. We're also going to do a little bit on fiberglass tanks as well. So we'll go on to the next stage. Right, when a customer usually comes in, now this is over a period of years this, but they do kind of come back with the same kind of thing. And as I say, it's just a bit of fun. It's not getting anybody, but this is what we get on this side of the counter. So the most popular one is they bring a tank in, and they say, I've had this bike, I've been restoring it for 4 or 5 years, and I need it doing because I know it's rusty inside, but there's no rush. So the thing is with parts and petrol tanks with no rushes, it usually means cheaper. It's just a saying, no rush. So we used to actually have a no rush stand, and I just used to leave them till there was a rush. It's like you're going into a restaurant, sit down, and the waitress comes up and asks you for a meal, and you say there's no rush, and she leaves you there for 2 months. It wouldn't happen with it. So it's just a bit of fun, but that's the kind of thing, the no rush. The next one is a tank comes in, and it's got a liner in it, and I've seen most of the majority of liners, and as I say, I take many liners out. And the chemical here is to try and get away from you putting a liner in, unless you've got pinholes or anything in it, but I will go through that in the videos, the tutorial. So they come in with it and they say, mate fitted this for me, and I don't think it's as good as it should be. Well, mate, we do have a lot of mates who do things around here for people, so that's a very common one, and you've usually seen it where it's flapping off. We have one particular liner, it even comes off with acetone, if you pour acetone in. So that's one, but one of the best ones is when you get someone in with they're like cuddling it like a baby in a blanket, and you're waiting for it because you know it's a petrol tank, and they put it on the counter and unwrap it, and it's beautiful. It can be anything. It can be GT 750, anything, beautiful, all coastline, triple lacquered, polished out, gorgeous. And you look in the top and it's just gone. It's inside, it's horrendous with rust, not filthy, I'm on about horrendous. And the only thing you can say is, because they say, you know, I need this sorting, and it's all about this bit backwards, you know, we've gone backwards with it, we should have done this first, obviously. And I still don't know how to paint them, you know, because if I saw in a tank like that when I was doing a tank, I certainly wouldn't be, I'd be certainly telling the customer. Anyway, so they kind of unravel it, and then you explain to them, and you give them the bad news, where really just throw it in the dustbin. Because if you think about it, back to this risk factor, and the risk factor is that when you're playing with any chemicals, mild alkalines or acids or strippers or anything, you're going to have some kind of, if you're not ticking all the boxes, accidents. So you tell the customer it's a write-off, and they've probably spent 400 or 500 quid on it many times, this conversation. So you've dropped them literally to the floor because they're like shaking their head, and you can see they're almost wanting to cuddle it again. So then, when you give the slight glimmer of hope that we might be able to do something with it, they kind of chirp up a little bit, and then they come out with, but what happens if you damage the paint? It's from one scale to another. So again, the risk factor is too high. Have I done them? Yes. Does the video show you how to wrap a tank correctly? Yes. But as for anyone in a workshop, there'll be many people watching this video, I should think, who fit tank liners or mechanics or competent people who do it all the time for a living. They'll know where I'm coming from. So when you say you can do it and you get, well, you know, is the tank going to be ruined? Well, you can't say it may be. But following the guidance of what I'm going to do in the new video coming out, 2 videos, I'm going to go through it all to cover that. So that's on really the customers and how they come in with it. Then you do get your genuine ones what come in and say, I've started this project, it's severely rust inside. But now I'll be able to offer them the kit and talk them through it. So we'll go on to the next step. So yes, so we have even people bringing in a few little bottles, and the biggest thing what I've found with it is that they're always too small. So I've tried to do this, everything's in 1 litre, apart from the third product, which is our rinse, which is a powder anyway, but the bottles are 100% concentrate. So when you get small bottles and you're messing about with tanks, there's never enough, so that's why I've done that. I do say though to people, I've seen everything, or I still have the remnants from nuts and bolts inside tanks, or the 10mm nut they still can't get out because they've tried to vinegar, white wine, all the rest of the things, fish tank gravel. Every tank's different. I've worked on most of the tanks, British, American, Japanese, and the seams, you've got to, once you've done years of it, you get to know the seams, the crevices, where nuts and bolts can't get in, and gravel. So, and some tanks fail in different areas. Some of the Hondas I have, a popular one is one at 404s. It always goes at the back half of the tank, just where your legs go over each side, like the famous blister starts. So you get to know everything and all the things that have been said, but at the end of the day, the idea is that you can take this chemical and do it yourself. That's what the videos will be for. I'm going to show you a few things we'll be doing because we're just setting it up to do the video, and if you want to have a quick look over here, you'll see what I'm going to show. So in the video for the training will be a tank which we're going to say is as new. Obviously it isn't painted, but this is one I've actually taken a liner out. So we're going to do kind of 2 tanks together. This one here is one we've been preparing, a British tank, and as you see what's coming out, close up, look, we've cut the bottom out of this for a reason, because back in the workshop when a tank comes in, we usually put a camera down it, but so we're trying to, by cutting the bottom out, we're going to show you the chemical and the process as I put it into the tanks. So I'm doing 1 as if it was you at home, and 2 so you can see it. And this is from wrapping it and tricks of the trade and blanking off, because it's all important. I'm also going to cover, this is a petrol tank I've done. Now, this is a fiberglass tank. Now, the reason I'm going to do a little bit in the video is because when this tank came in, the full side of it was hanging down. It had been in a crate for 25 years. So bad, this fiberglass tank, that when I'm just showing you, this is the airbox off it. We're talking worse than this hanging off it, right? I could put my finger through. That's how it was. It had gone. The resin had gone. It was on the floor. So I'm going to show why you could use the Prep 1 in a fiberglass tank and go through some of the things. A lot of the fantics they get here, you start with a blister, and there's a few tricks of the trade. So I will be showing how you can use Prep 1 and Prep 3 into a fiberglass tank. We've got a station med up in the corner where we'll be assembling our products and going through it all and then sending it out to you. So as again, this one is just really describing the new product, how we do it, and if you've got a need for it either in restoration or road or race, anything you want to do, we'll guide you through it also with the helpline and the tutorial we're putting out. So till the next one, thanks very much.